Good evening. Welcome to World News. I am Wisdom Onyisi. First, the headlines. Southwest governors plan harmonized regional agri-calendar, irrigation, and infrastructure. Ecuador Interior Minister faces impeachment threat. Blinken in Qatar for Gaza mediation push. And on sport, Norwich City appoints Jack Wilshere team coach. Now the news in details. As part of measure to tackle food insecurity, governments of the southwest state are targeting a harmonized regional agricultural calendar to optimize production cycles across the region. The calendar aims at streamlining each planting season based on where each state of the zone has a competitive advantage while having a review based on regional needs from time to time. This is as they look at the comprehensive development of irrigation infrastructure, including the revitalization of dams for all year-round farming across most states of the zone. The latest progress report regarding tackling food insecurity in the region, particularly focusing on the production and infrastructure efforts of the respective government. Well, you know that Governor Deputy Governor Obafemi Hazard has warned of the dangers climate change poses to the state, urging immediate action to avert potential natural disaster in Lagos. Addressing attendees at a strategic stakeholders management meeting with ministries, departments and agencies organized by the Ministry of Justice on Wednesday, Hazard pointed to global examples such as the United Kingdom and New York City in the United States, where residents are already relocating due to the impact of climate change. Stressing the urgency of the situation, he outlined extreme heat, climate change, and rising sea levels as three major threats facing the state. The deputy governor called for a shift in focus over the next 20 to 25 years. He also criticized the mismanagement of land and the lack of effective physical planning in Nigeria, labeling them as. The governor of Cross River State has appealed to the federal government to expedite action on the reconstruction work of the Calabar-Uyo Federal Highway. The Commissioner for Commerce, Abigail Duke Orok, made the appeal on Monday when she visited the Federal Controller of Works at his office in Calabar. The condition of the federal highway that links Calabar to neighboring Akwa Ibom and nearby eastern state has remained deplorable for more than 10 years. She noted that a journey that used to take 1 hour from Calabar, the capital of Cross River State, to Uyo, the capital of Akwa Ibom State, now takes a minimum of 5 hours. Now, when we return, news from other parts of Africa. Stay with us.
This is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Polka.
Welcome back. Now news from other parts of Africa. Sudanese fleeing the southeastern town of Senau after an attack by the Rapid Support Forces on nearby Jebel Mayin arrived on 28 June 2024 in Gadaris in eastern Sudan. 8 civilians were killed following an attack by the Rapid Support Forces in villages in Al Jazeera State, Central Sudan, activists have said. The International Organization for Migration reported that approximately 350 families have been displaced. We also have that more than 6.5 million children have been vaccinated in a synchronized polio campaign between Kenya and Uganda, the World Health Organization said on Wednesday. The UN Health Agency said the cross-border polio campaign began with a coordinated launch in the Bogoma district of Western Kenya and Mbale district of Eastern Uganda, running between October 3rd and 6th. Africa is fueled by heavy movement of high-risk population between the countries. The decision by the government of Kenya and Uganda to conduct two synchronized on October 2 to 6 and November 6 to 10 is a laudable effort supported by the GPEI partnership. Now we move to other parts of the world after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now news from other parts of the world. The leaders of the Commonwealth grouping of nations met on Thursday ahead of a summit in the South Pacific nation of Samoa that will feature talks on climate change and the question of reparation for Britain's role in transatlantic slavery. King Charles, the head of the grouping, is among the representatives of 56 countries, most with roots in Britain Empire, who are attending the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting that began on Monday. More than half of the Commonwealth members are small nations, many of them low-lying islands at the risk from rising sea levels caused by climate change. Among them is Tuvalu, whose climate change minister, Maina Vakafua Talaya, urged the grouping to strive for the Paris Accord warming goal of 1.5 degrees, that is 2.7 degrees, calling new fossil fuel projects a death. Island leaders are expected to issue a declaration on ocean protection at the summit, with climate change being a central topic of discussion. Away from that, we also have that Russian President Vladimir Putin won on Thursday against illusory attempts to defeat Russia on the battlefield ahead of his first meeting with the United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres in more than 2 years for talks set to focus on conflict in Ukraine. Putin was speaking in the Russian city of Kazan on the final day of the BRICS summit, a forum Moscow hopes will help forge a united front of emerging economies against the West. Shortly before he spoke, Russia's lower house of parliament voted to ratify a defense pact with the North Korea amid reports that Pyongyang has sent thousands of troops to Russia for training and possible deployment in Ukraine. Away from that, we also have the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Qatar to talks on Thursday with the key mediator on the war in Gaza as he seeks momentum for a ceasefire after Israel's killing and leader of Hamas. After meeting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem, Blinken flew to Saudi Arabia and then Qatar, when he will meet with the Gulf states Emir Tamim bin Hamid Al Thani and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdurrahman bin Jassin Al Thani for assessment on where Hamas stands on the trans. Blinken is paying his 11th trip to the region since the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel, after repeated disappointment as he seeks to end the Israeli retaliatory campaign in the Gaza Strip. Up next is business. Please stay with us. Welcome back now to business news. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission (FCCPC) has identified hoarders of grain as a key factor driving food inflation in Nigeria. The executive vice chairman of the FCCPC, Tunji Bello, made the assertion during a town hall meeting with key industry players in Kano, the Kano state capital, on Wednesday. Speaking to a packed audience at the Afishan Central, Bello revealed that FCCPC investigators uncovered a disturbing trend where some merchants were stockpiling newly invested grains to create artificial scarcity, thereby inflating food prices. Still on business news, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has reduced Nigerians' growth prospects over low crude oil production and severe flooding, among other challenges currently bedeviling the country's economy. The fund, in its recently published World Economic Outlook, noted that Nigerians' growth prospect for 2024 dropped to 2.9% from 3.3% published in the last report. It blamed the downgrade particularly on the effect of recent inflation, flooding, and oil production setback. This is as it projected global economic growth in 2025 to remain unchanged at 3.2%. The projection for the global economy represents a decline of 0.1% from the fund's earlier projection in July 2024. Well, so have you know that Canadian Central Bank cut its key interest rate by half a point on Wednesday, reducing it to 3.75% and offering borrowers further relief as it claimed the battle against inflation had proven successful. Canada had held its benchmark rate steady for almost a year at 5.0%, the highest level in 2 decades, before initiating a cut in early June. It was the first G7 country to begin trimming rates after a protracted period of inflation. Following 3 consecutive quarters point cuts, most analysts had forecast more aggressive action for the bank's October announcement after figures earlier this month showed inflation had dipped below 2%. Still on business news, global growth is expected to ease slightly to 3.2% this year and remain at the level in 2025, the IMF announced, while warning that the stable figures mask important regional and sectoral shift. In its new World Economic Outlook report, the International Monetary Fund also estimates that global inflation will continue to ease, hitting 5.8% this year before falling to 4.3% in 2025. The report noted that global growth is expected to trend to a lackluster 3.1% by 2029 and warned of growing risk that metrics. Now, still to come is sports. Stay with us.
This is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Polka.
Welcome back now to Sport News. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have moved up by 3 spots to place world 36th in the October FIFA ranking. In the ranking table on the website of the World Football Governing Body on Thursday, Nigeria garnered 1,503.29 points within the period under review. The senior men's national team defeated their Libyan counterpart in the first leg match of the African Cup of Nations qualifiers by a lone goal on October 11th in Uyo. The movement also reflected positively on the team's continental position to be ranked fourth behind Morocco, Senegal and Egypt instead of the sixth spot they occupied in the September. On the global scene, 32 qualifiers for the FIFA World Cup 2026, 47 for the CAF African Cup of Nations 2025, 79 Nations League matches and 17 friendlies were played during the recent international window. Away from that, well, you know that former Arsenal star Jack Wilshere has been appointed Norwich City first team coach. The club confirmed on Wednesday in a statement titled Jack Wilshere joins as first team coach. Wilshere, 32 years, stepped into his new role after a successful stint as Arsenal under 18th head coach, where he led the team to the FA Youth Cup final in his debut season. Wilshere's playing career saw him make 197 senior appearances for Arsenal, winning 2 FA Cups and becoming the club's youngest ever Premier League debut at just 16. The team will be aiming for a top 3 finish to secure promotion to the Premier League in the 2025-2026 football season. We also have that Manchester City is reportedly considering Sporting CP striker Victor Gyökeres as a potential replacement of Erling Haaland, which could disrupt Arsenal's transfer plan for the forward. A post by Mirror UK on Wednesday noted that Gyökeres, 26 years, has been linked with a move to the Emirates, but City may swoop in if Haaland departs for Real Madrid. Haaland, who joined City from Borussia Dortmund in 2022, has been in sensational form, scoring 101 goals in 109 appearances and helping the club secure 2 Premier League titles, the EFL Cup and the Champions League. However, Real Madrid is interested in signing the Norwegian international, with Haaland reportedly keen on a move to Spain. Report also highlights a £150 million, that is 125 million euros, release clause in Haaland contract, which runs until 2027. And that's your sport news on World News. Now we move to the rest of the news after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. Ecuador's opposition-controlled Congress began impeachment proceedings Wednesday against Interior Minister Monica Palencia, who is accused of failing to get rid of escalating drug-related violence. Palencia is the most visible face of the government fight against a crime wave shaking the South American nation. She will defend herself against accusation from 2 legislators close to former socialist president Rafael Correa, who are seeking to remove her from office. Impeachment requires the support of 92 of the 137 members of the Congress, where the opposition has a majority. And that's World News. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. We told you that Southwest governors plan harmonized regional agri-calendar, irrigation and infrastructure. We also brought to you that Ecuador Interior Minister faces impeachment threat. And we also informed you that Blake in Qatar for Gaza mediation push. And on sport, we brought to you that Norwich City appointed Jack Wilshere team coach. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hillstv Abuja, Instagram at Hillstv Abuja, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hillstv. I am Wisdom Onisi. Thanks for watching.